So,
Hang on a
see,
second.
there's 30. Yeah.
I gotta tell it to capture Minecraft. Specific window. Okay. There we go. Alright. It is capturing. Alright. Where are you? There you are.
Yeah, I'm switching the color on these other networks just so that it's super simple and easier to follow. So,
So
okay.
basically what...
So the idea of this kind of setup is machines are on one network. Storage is on another network.
And each network is
So
a different color, right?
Yep, in this particular case. So what we do, we're going to pretend the orange has all the machines. All your interfaces, all your crafting, everything. Everything that's not storage. And this will consider our deep storage network. And in this, you can even have, say, your immediate storage, like stuff to hold 64K storage or 128K or whatever you like to use.
Everything that
although I prefer to have my 64Ks on this network.
all of my storage is held in AE, and I think it's 64K, 10 64K things.
Okay.
10 64K drives.
If you right-click on this storage bus, and you click on the little wrench.
On the little wrench, priority.
You see that priority is set to 100, right?
Yes.
Anything else that you do is going to be less than 100 on the orange network. And the reason for that is what that says is this storage bus is now the most important thing on the entire orange network.
Okay, now stupid question. You've got a light blue wire running between the two. Is that just so that it... I was gonna say, is that just tying the storage into this one?
Actually,
or
crap. Can you put another storage bus on here? I forgot it breaks it when you pull the thing off. But
hold on, I gotta go back to game mode 0. Oh crap. / game mode MODE 0.
I'm just fixing the color here so that, again, the explanation is easier.
There you go. Storage bus, it's set the priority to 100.
Okay, good. All right, so now we'll connect it. All right.
So that's basically saying the machines are now connected to the storage network. Basically.
Correct. So what it's going to do is anytime you put something into the orange network, it's going to first say, all right, storage bus over here, is there any space in the deep storage unit? Yes or no? If it's yes, it'll stick it in one of these deep storage units, assuming you have a storage bus connected to each of these deep storage units. You'll notice why I did not do that. The reason why I did not do that yet is because I haven't allocated it. So if I just make this and I put a bunch of storage buses on here, whatever crap comes in, let's say you're making some cable. Cable's going to take up a spot in your deep storage unit. Well, you've got so little cable relative to your total space in your 64K drives that it doesn't make any sense. However, iron, as you're pumping iron in, it makes all sense in the world to have iron take up space in a deep storage unit, because you might have a couple 100,000 or a couple million iron. So anything that's high volume, meaning greater than 1,000, I like to put in a deep storage unit.
Just because it holds infinite?
It holds 2 billion of one item type.
Okay.
And I've never seen anyone hit 2 billion. I think 2 months of heavy input, I was able to get 1 billion iron. And that's 2 months of super heavy production.
Basically a whole bunch.
When you get, yeah, you have to try really, really, really hard. And there was no way in hell I was going to do 4 months of heavy grinding on resources just to try to hit the cap.
Now,
I just hit 1 billion and I was like, wow, all right, I'm done.
now, is there a reason why you started with dense cable and then you dropped down to smart cable?
Yes, because dense cable does not interact with storage buses.
Okay.
Dense cable does not interact with P2P tunnels, except on the output side. So I'll explain what we're doing here. So let's go over here, and I'm gonna label one of these P2Ps 1. Deep storage DS1, deep storage 1. Actually, we're gonna call it P2P 1. Okay, so see, I titled this P2P1. Now I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna label this one P2P1. And the reason why I want to do this is later down the road, if I'm trying to troubleshoot something, it helps to know that this one is going to be connected to this one. So what I do is I take this memory card and I shift right click P2P tunnel. What that says is anything now that I regular right click this memory card is going to be linked with this P2P tunnel. So in this case, now I'm going to right click here. Successfully loaded setting, device online. So what I've done now is I've linked these 32 machines to this one P2P. Does that make sense?
Yeah, basically you've told it where to go, where it goes.
Exactly. Now, hover over this dense cable. How many channels are in use?
1 of 32 channels.
Boom. So basically, we just slammed 32 channels, because there's 32 channels per face of an ME controller. I slammed all those 32 channels into one channel via P2P, and then I uncompressed it into these deep storage units. So now if you think about it, now you've got a big room and you want to add another 32. Suck up one more channel. 32, suck up one more channel. So theoretically, you could have a room. So this little cluster here, 9 P2Ps are in place, right?
Okay.
So this one little cluster will handle 9 times 32 channels. And you can compress them all into this dense cable. Theoretically, you can run up to 16 times 32 channels through one. Oops, fell off the edge here. Off one. See this one dense cable here?
Yeah.
This one dense cable, if you use P2P channels, can handle half of its channels times 32. Total channels running through it at one time.
So a lot.
Does that make sense?
Alexa.
Yeah, a lot.
16 times 32.
16 multiplied by 32 is 512.
512 channels.
There you go. So you can run 512 channels through a single dense cable by doing it this way.
So basically, you're compressing your storage system.
You are.
Instead of using 60 channels, you might be using 3.
Exactly. And so what that means is you can have one central processor core that handles your entire massive frickin' base. All by just using some P2Ps. I mean, this is about all I use. I'll do 4 in my, I'll do 4 in my main and 2 or 3 in my deep storage cluster. And that handles an entire massive, ridiculously huge base.
So basically,
now, as I get stuff, I might drop an iron. Let's say I want to save marble. I'll put 1 marble in this deep storage unit, and then
and then a storage bus.
And now that I've allocated it, now I do a storage bus. And then what I'll do is I'll code that to marble. So let's say I run out of marble on the massive job. This deep storage unit is forever allocated to marble.
Okay.
And it's now the highest priority storage device. So any marble you use is going to come out of the orange network first. And any marble you store is going to go into the blue network first. Because remember, your storage bus is level 100. So there we go. So this is how I handle mass storage, and I've conserved channels that are needed. Because remember now, 512. Remember, I can hold up to 512 deep storage units on this network.
Yeah.
And 512 channels, because they're going through this storage bus here, are now compressed into 1 channel on this smart cable.
So
my entire storage network takes 1 channel of the main network to operate.
Just so I understand, okay, here's bank 1, bank 2. Now if I want to create bank 3 and 4, when I bring this wire over and out, I have to put a storage, or not a storage bus, a P2P there first, connect it, and then go from the P2P down through dense cable and then to your smart cable for it to compress all of it, correct?
Correct. And then you use this little memory card thing I'm holding, memory card.
Yeah, and that tells you where to go.
Right-click the device over here, and now I can regular right-click, now that it's coded to that P2P. Right-click on it, and it will say device online after a second. And now you've linked those.
So now,
we get to, go ahead.
Is there a reason why you did 4 rows? Is there math involved in that, or what is the reasoning?
I like being able to walk in between.
Okay.
So I can access the side of the deep storage unit on this side, and I can access the side of the deep storage unit on this side.
Well, what I'm saying is you did 2 columns here and 2 columns here with the space in between. I understand the space in between, but is there a reason for the 2 columns? Any math reason?
Yes. Yes. Smart cable can only handle 8 channels.
Okay.
So the biggest number of devices you can put is 8 devices connected to a smart cable.
So these must be 4 rows of 8 then.
Yep. 4 rows of 8.
Okay.
Because remember, you can handle 32 channels in a dense cable.
Okay. I think I'm starting to see. So now, this may be a little advanced, but somehow, when I have my ender quarry going, somehow my ender quarry is going to attach to the system so it starts storing stuff in some way, shape, or form. And it's also going to attach to the machines for the automatic processing, correct? That can be done?
Yes.
Okay.
So now watch this. So let's see this test rack here. It's receive item, fluid, and energy.
Yeah.
Well, watch.
The heck do I have in my hand?
now you can see that this interface is touching the tesseract that's receiving stuff from the ender core.
Yeah.
Interfaces have no bandwidth issues. Meaning, if I have 1,000,000 blocks a second coming in, or 10 blocks a second coming in, the interface can handle it.
So as long as that.
Now, if you have stuff coming into a chest, then you've got to use
An import bus.
buses, and those are slow as fuck. It makes
Yeah.
no sense to ever use an import bus.
I have an import bus on a chest right now because that's the only way I could get it to work because I don't understand all of applied energistics. But through watching this video a couple times, I think I'm gonna start to understand it better.
Now, one other thing you're going to notice too, if you hover over enemy controllers, you'll see it contains 16K RF out of 16K RF. As you start, every time you put stuff in an ME system or out of an ME system, it's going to suck up some power. So it'll get to the point where you can't sustain the amount of power, within the default controller. So then you're going to want to add one more little thing here to the system, an energy cell. And this acts as an energy buffer for your whole system. So now this has 3.2 million RF. You'll never tap that out, even if you have like 4 maxed out ender cores just banging. This will be your buffer for as stuff comes in. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay. So then we come into processing. So similar to how we did with the ME system, I'm gonna create a little, why is this?
You can create yourself a larger area if you need to.
I'm just gonna open up this side here so I can more easily,
Do what you need to do.
yeah. Oh,
So if I'm understanding this correctly, it's basically going to be set up the same way as the storage, where you could have 8 furnaces, but they're all on one P2P.
excuse me, sir. Yes, but I've got a better way to handle that stuff.
Whoops,
And
I was in your way.
It's pretty ingenious, if I do say so myself. And I do. All right, so go ahead and take a resonant. Well, actually, yeah. Go ahead and take a resonant. Get couple furnaces. Get 4 furnaces and 4 pulverizers.
Oh, you're talking about the redstone furnace, okay.
Yeah. All right, so see the 4
Hang on a second.
grass blocks that surround tesseracts? Oh, okay.
I'm getting crap out of my inventory before it gets so confusing I don't know what's what. I don't think I'm going to need that anymore. Hold on, I'll be right back. I need to go use the bathroom.
How many pages have you done, sweetie?
Page.
Okay,
And
good.
why are you in creative?
I'm helping somebody right now.
Server?
Just helping somebody with automation.
For a server? Sorry, let me now.
All right, so are you back? Oh, you are back.
Yeah, I'm
Can't hear
back. Yeah, I accidentally muted myself. So what am I doing with the grass blocks?
Oh, replace each of those with so make one of them furnaces and one of them pulverizers.
Okay.
So are you familiar with augments?
No.
Okay. So you see that's resonant? So right click on either a furnace or a pulverizer. And then
Okay.
click on augmentation.
Okay.
Okay, so leave the top three things that are in there alone.
Okay.
But do you see how there's 3 blank spaces?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you type augment under search items in
Okay.
creative, you will see augment secondary reception coil. It's like looks like a little speedometer.
It's like a little speedometer.
It's to the right of the little arrows that stick up.
Secondary reception coil, yes.
There you go, secondary reception coil, and to the right of that, overclocked modular gearbox.
Yeah.
And then next to that, space-time flux unifier.
Yes.
See those 3?
Yeah.
You can put one each of those 3 in the pulverizers and the furnaces and the magnet, any of those machines if they're resonant.
Okay.
And what that will do is speed them up to where it's stupid fast.
Okay. We're not going to do that right now, but...
No, I'm just showing you conceptually what I need to create a couple more channels here. We're going to call one pulverizer. It'll get power. And this one will be... Let's see. 3 will be smell. Oh, furnaces.
Oh, you must have the channels locked.
I do.
Because I don't see them on any of them, so...
Okay, this is pulverizers. This is...
So instead of using AE to move the stuff, you're using tesseracts to teleport the stuff back and forth. Is that
Sorta,
faster?
kinda. I'll explain here one more in just 1 second. Alright, so now let's take some item conduit.
Okay, hang on a second. I don't normally use item conduit. I use the item duct. But okay, go ahead.
Always use Ender IO stuff
I just don't
for
have
everything.
I just didn't have the materials to do it.
Oh, okay.
Or the patience to sit there and try and figure it out.
You should always use that because it's the most efficient. Plus, you can put everything in the same block. You can have power, fluid, and item and redstone
Yep.
signal all in one space.
Yep. All right, so what
now
am
you want to have, go ahead and plug the, yeah. So the backside of all these furnaces and pulverizers, have them go back to this tesseract here, on the bottom on the floor.
well, that works. Not the way I wanted it, but it works. Ah, crap.
Okay, so now change each of these conduit connectors. I'll do the pulverizer side, you do the furnace side, to extract active without signal.
Extract active without signal?
Correct. So you're going to click on the little redstone torch once, and it'll be done. Checking your work. Good. Now, right-click on the tesseract one.
On the tesseract
and
itself?
Make it, no, the conduit connector of the tesseract.
Oh, okay. Extract. Active with signal.
Hold on, so I got somebody in TeamSpeak here. Tommy, I'll be with you in 1 sec, buddy. I'm helping someone out with something. I'll be right there. Oops. What I get for
So what am I doing on the one on the tesseract?
change it to insert. Mode is going to be insert. There we go. So what we're saying is, at all times, we should be, extracting stuff from the machines and putting it into the tesseract. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Which means that at all times, anything coming from there is going to be received by the tesseract under this stack, this computer stack, to the ME controllers.
Okay.
And it's going to be pushed into this ME interface and accepted by computer network. You see how that works?
I think so.
Pull it out of the furnaces, pulverizers, put it into the tesseract. Tesseract receives it and goes into your inventory.
So it hits. It basically goes from here to here.
It goes from here to here.
Yeah, it hits that tesseract. Okay.
And it gets and enters the system.
Okay. As long as I have the machines connected to the network that has storage bus on it. Okay.
Yes. The interface. The interface is what accepts the item into the system. So, now how do we get stuff into the pulverizers or into the furnace? Well, we do that with an export bus. Well, I'm going to get some export buses. Okay, so let's say I have a bunch of different ores I want to go into the pulverizer. I'm going to set this tesseract to pulverizer. Send items only. And then inside this export bus, I want to have every export bus should have 2 capacity cards and 2 acceleration cards.
See, I don't have the acceleration cards in the ones that I've got downstairs. So I have a feeling I'm going to end up rebuilding my entire AE system.
Alright, so the idea of this is you can now have, let's say arguably there's let's say there's 20, up to 24 ore types. Well, then you can have, you know, your 24 ores being exported to the tesseract, to the item tesseracts. I mean, to the pulverizers. So then the neat thing about this is, let's say you are just swamped with ores, you got a bunch of stuff coming in, you're like, you know, I don't have enough capacity to handle processing all this. Well, all you gotta do is throw another tesseract up anywhere, surround it with 4 pulverizers, set the tesseract to pulverize channel, and now you've got modular expandability, infinite expandability. You need more processing, throw another 4 on. You need more smelting, throw another 4 on.
Now,
It can be anywhere, and it doesn't have to be connected to your system.
how do I set the... Oh, the server restarted. Damn it. I forgot about that.
No worries.
No. So how are we going to set the level emitters? Are those basically just going to be done on a wall that's hooked into the system somehow? Or, because I played around with them a little bit,
It's gonna be right there where those export buses were.
You're getting to that, huh?
Yep, that's the next thing. First, you have to understand how items get to the pulverizer and get back, and how they get to the furnace and get back. So now you see how stuff can get to the furnaces and back.
Yes.
Right?
And if I build my system and it doesn't work, I can always get a hold of you and have you look at it and see. But at least this video will give me something to go back and look at. You know what I mean?
So yeah. And so this way gives you infinite expandability with minimal requirements for running cable everywhere.
So basically, the way you're building the system is I can make rooms for each little thing, password the doors if I wanted to, and I don't have cable running all over the place that could get broken when I decide to dig my base bigger.
Exactly.
Or something like that.
This solves your problem right there.
Or I can move the stuff around and compact it if I want, and I don't have to worry about where all the cables are ran. So I wonder if that's going to work, if Tesseracts would work for my my crafting terminals. Because that would be one way to get rid of all those dang wires.
What do you mean crafting terminals?
Those big crafting computers that we first came in by.
Oh, you mean the 64K crafting stuff?
Yeah.
No, they're still going to take up that space.
You have to use...
You just need to allocate, and they have to be wired, because they need a P2P network on the dense cable.
Servers up.
It's going to power all this stuff.
Servers up.
Yep, I'm connecting. But, you know, you're just gonna, so the idea of, like, when I build something, let's say this was a multi-floor, this is on the outside of my base, usually. So, like, I would usually, let's say this is normally this wall would normally be on the outside. So let's see.
So basically, if I'm understanding this correctly, I could put this all down at bedrock, clear out a huge area for bedrock, and stick it all down on bedrock, and just use tesseracts to port the stuff back and forth.
You could.
And basically have a system that's completely hidden. Maybe that's what I'll do, is I'll go down to bedrock and just clear out a 64 by 64 area, 64 by 64 by like 32 or something like that. You know, some big huge area. And then I can build the network.
Mm-hmm.
And I can keep all the machines down there and all that. Keep everything out of the way, and everybody will be like, well, where's all this stuff coming from? Haha, that's my secret.
Alright, so now we're going to get to emitters.
Okay. Where'd you go?
I dropped down for a second, just step there for a second. I'm typing. Okay, ME level. Oh, they don't have. You don't have extra. You don't have fluid storage. Oh, that's shitty. See, Direwolf 20 doesn't have the fluid expansion for the ME system. For like fluid crafting and all kinds.
Well, another part of the reason he didn't want to run the pack is he's only got 5 or 6 gigs of memory, and it requires 4 gigs to run it, and it slows his computer down drastically.
Well, if you've got a crappy computer, then yeah, it's
That's part of the problem.
not an option.
I mean, he barely runs Direwolf 1.7. We might end up having to go to 164. If we go to 164, then I pretty much remember how to build the system. I just got to remember what all the settings were at, you know, because you had to set each individual thing. But so far, he can somewhat function in 174 as long as he doesn't try to do a bunch of shit all at once. So I can take an interface, and as long as I put it either right next to a controller or run cable to a controller, I can have all my mines, my ender quarries, go into that one interface, and it'll put it in the system, and everything will just start getting processed once I set it up.
Mm-hmm. So now check this out. Here's what I'm doing for...
Am I clicking on the level emitter? 1000.
Okay. Okay, so now if you look at that, what this is saying is if there is greater than 1,000 pulverized iron, that's whatever you want. If there's greater than 1,000 pulverized iron, emit a level, or emit a redstone signal.
Okay.
And then if you right click on the export bus that it's pointing at, you'll see active with signal, export pulverized iron.
So you have to have the redstone card in it.
You do. If you want it to be controlled by redstone, which we do for emitters. So in this case, now, what I've just done is I've told this tesseract, send items to furnace. Okay? And so what it says is if there is more than 1,000 pulverized iron in the system, smelt it into ingots. So you always keep a little bit of dust for certain recipes that you might need.
Yeah. So keep like 128 dust and smelt the rest of it.
Yep. So that's how I have all that stuff set up. And then I'll have the ones that I want to have controlled numbers, like aluminum. There's no reason to have aluminum dust. So I have aluminum dust set on always smelt iron. Always smelt aluminum. In which case, one of these tesseracts can handle up to 8 things in the export bus if you don't need to item control it.
So these have nothing to do with teleporting it to the pulverizers or the furnaces unless I tell it to.
Correct.
So basically it's this tesseract that's doing all the communication with the main system that's pulling it.
This tesseract receives everything on channel 1.
Okay, so on your private network, channel 1. Okay.
Which I call base. Where I go.
Yeah, so that would be anything that comes in from my quarries, basically.
Or comes in from here. So everything that the machine is done with, it sends it back to the network. So
And then
when the pulverizers are done, pulverizing stuff into pulverized iron, it goes back into the network.
So basically, is there a tesseract over here?
There is.
So
It's only receiving power.
Oh, I couldn't set it to receive power in items, and that's how all my items would get transferred to this tesseract on a channel called storage.
You want your main system to control that. So all items come into the stack here.
So
and if you want it to go into this network, it will automatically put it into this network because you have it set on priority 100.
So how does it know to take the pulverized iron, or no, not the pulverized iron, the iron ingot that comes into this system, and put it in this DSU?
Because you have it coming into this interface here.
Okay, yes.
It's connected to the tesseract, right?
Yes. Is it through the peer-to-peers?
Items come into the tesseract, go into the interface, into your network. Your network says, okay, coming into the network, do I have a place to store it? Yes. What's the highest priority storage? This is the highest priority storage. Is there room for it? Yes. Okay, put it in the deep storage unit. Is there room for it? No. Put it into the 64K storages.
Okay. And I would just add another level of wiring once I fill those three P2P buses up. Then add another one, and so on and so forth. And you just keep adding.
So in this case, I'll set this to, I'll call this 1. And this would normally have a P2P on it. So let me grab a P2P so it's outwardly apparent.
Here, I've got one. Where do you want me to put it?
I got it. Now remember, dense can't directly interface. So you have to first put a regular guy. Now this cable is the cable that runs everywhere. And if you want channels, you grab channels off of. So in this case, you would link this P2P to this P2P, and now you've got up to 32 devices here. Now, let's say you have another area with other machines, like, over here. Whatever. Then you would have another
P2P
and a P2P, and it would be connected in. So basically, this main wire becomes this one dense cable becomes the transmitter of data around your base.
The one underneath.
This big orange one, yes. And it will provide enough channels to drive a massive superstructure. As it's set up right now, 1, 2, 3 times 4 is 12 times 32. That's how many currently in its current configuration you can drive.
So now, how do I hook the crafting monitor in to see what I've got and craft manually if I want to craft manually? Do I just put it on one of the orange cables, or how does that work?
Oh, like your interface?
Yeah, like my crafting.
This is typically in its own room. So, like I would normally have this
in a room.
This would normally, here, move out of the way. Yeah. Let's pretend this is its own room. And it's locked away. You never even see this unless you
Physically go there.
Yeah.
Unless you
go
go
there. So your area here might be. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, here we go. So you'll have a P2P here.
So basically, orange being the machines is the only one you have to ever run. You don't have to run the blue because the blue's tied into the orange. Correct?
Correct. Yep. So now then we'd have our, crafting grid here. Maybe we have a monitor, another crafting grid, maybe some stuff to, some monitors if you wanted to monitor the level of certain stuff. And now you can put your stuff in here, and then you link this P2P to another P2P on the stack over here.
Okay.
And now this will drive up to 32 devices.
But it'll show.
Maybe in this one you have your where is it? Let me just find it. Go. Maybe this one has this. Maybe it's something like this.
Okay, so if I wanted to use just ME drives for storage, I basically would replace these DSUs with ME drives and just let it put it wherever it's going to put it. Correct?
If you wanted to do that, you could do that, yeah.
Okay.
I highly suggest you don't do that.
Well, I'm just saying.
Don't even have a secondary network at all if you're going to do that. Just throw a stack of these on there and you're done.
But this is where you link up your crafting monitor, your ME terminal, all those terminals that you have to click on to get the interface. And that will tell you everything that's in the entire system, even the storage network, correct? Because it's linked through it's linked through the storage bus with that orange wire.
Right. So as far as your orange network is concerned, it thinks this whole blue network is one big chest.
Okay.
If there's room in the chest, it'll put it in the chest. Otherwise it won't.
So basically what I could do is I could keep my ME drive section, but put my major stuff like iron, copper, redstone, steel, the stuff that you might end up getting a lot of, and stick it in a DSU to free up the space in the other storage for the miscellaneous stuff. The stuff that you might only have like 3 or 4 laying around, like redstone energy conduit. I seriously doubt anyone's ever going to have 1,000 redstone energy conduit laying around. If they do, they're crafting too much.
Agreed. So then, how do you deal with, let's say you've got a bunch of crap, so you haven't advanced to using deep storage units yet. And now you're starting to build your deep storage unit. So you've got thousands of everything in your network. It's all randomly jumbled in these drives. This is how you fix it.
Okay, you take a Tesseract and you put
an export on there.
Okay.
And then whatever you want to go into your deep storage unit, you just export it.
How does it Oh, because you've set the storage bus over here to whatever. So when you export it and it goes into the system, it says, wait a minute, there's a storage bus over here. Bam.
Yeah, stick it over there. And so now this, if anything coming through this tesseract is going to be received by the system over here, and this system's going to say, wait a minute, that has a space over here in the storage unit. Put it in the storage unit instead. And that will start to clean up your disks and make space of all the stuff that you don't need in there, like iron, copper, lead, whatever is a major resource. Cobblestone, dirt, sand.
Cobblestone's a nightmare.
Stuff. Yeah, so that's what's going to happen. So you'll end up saving all that stuff in a deep storage unit, but the way to get it out of your disks is to do this. And it'll export to that spot over there. And now you clean up your system. Like in my case, I actually end up creating a whole channel of like 4, and I'll do this. And I'll have like 5 of them just banging out at max speed, cleaning up my stuff. Because at that point, you might have like, 1.5 million cobble before you get big storage set up.
Yeah.
Or, 1.5 million, that's high. Let's say you have 300,000.
I know what you meant.
But anyway, that's kind of how I set it up.
So basically, I need to take one room and put this in one room, and maybe this one in the same room, but separated by a couple spaces, and then. I
usually put a wall. I put a wall in between them, and then the only space you see is the.
Wire.
So, yep. So I'll do something like that, and that way this is a storage unit, and then right across the way is the massive area allocated to deep storage units. I usually set up 6 banks of these.
What the heck do you all store in them?
Everything. You know me, I'm extremely efficient at gathering resources. So,
well, maybe once I get it all set up, maybe have you come back on and help me set up what's going into DSUs and what's not. And then that'll be a good test.
No, just because if it's 1,000 or more, it's
Well, obviously I'm going to stick all my ores. Obviously, I'll stick all my ores in there.
Your ores will only ever be here.
That's what I'm saying. We'll stick them in the DSUs.
No, ores don't go there. Ores will be processed so fast that they're never an issue. Only your ingots will go in there.
Okay.
Because a system like this is so fast. I mean, it's up. That's how fast it cranks out each ore. So if you have a 64, it's like at max speed. And with 4 of them going, it's like a machine gun. Shit just flying through there.
I can see.
I like me being a neat freak about my stuff. This is usually the wall. So when you're looking at my base on the inside, you come in, this is all flat. You don't see any of the stuff in the back.
Yeah. My base is semi like that from what you saw. I mean, there's spots where you see stuff, but that's just because I haven't covered it up yet.
Yeah.
But like
this is usually wall as well. And as I need to add new tesseracts, I'll just hug the spot and add a new one. And then you notice how there's dividers, these cable anchors in between.
Yeah.
That allows me to run 32 channels.
Okay, so basically the peer-to-peer comes from there and goes to here. Okay. Slash time, set, day.
Does seem like it gets night pretty fast in this mod pack.
I know it does. There's got to be a way to control that.
I'm sure there probably is. If you're running Infinity, I would say you just set a light sensor to a thing that controls time, and you can fast forward through night automatically.
Oh, what do I have to type in to get the admin dislocator? Because I think it's in the Direwolf pack. I think.
That's not.
It's not?
No. You don't have Draconic Evolution in this pack.
Oh.
So you actually need a plug-in to do that. A random teleport plug-in. So anyway, this is what I do in every base. And I usually do a 3 chunk by 3 chunk base that I use a what do
World
you call it? No.
chunk loader.
No. What do you call it? It's the filler. I use a filler.
Well,
So
I
I
can never.
filler, and I filler out a 3 chunk by 3 chunk area, and then I make 5 to 6 high room, and then I have a space in between every floor, and then there's a 2 space. Like if this is the wall, it's like set up like this over here. Like if this is the internal part of the base and I'm looking outward at the outside of the base, this is the actual outside of the base. So I have a run space in between, and under every floor I have, it's like this. So you can run around underneath, like in between each floor, there's this crawl space where you can run cable. And that way it's just super easy to work on everything. And then your main cable thing comes out in this crawl space, goes out to the edge of the wall, and then you can drop it all the way down to bedrock. Boop, 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 boop. And now you have your main network cable that can be tapped for P2Ps, wherever you're at.
So basically, your main part is the top, and everything goes down from there, all the way to bedrock.
Yep. Correct. That's what I do. But I quarry it out first. Not quarry, but I filler it out so that it's pure 100%. The only thing, any block that exists within that space is because I placed it there. And that way you don't have to worry about digging crap out or whatever. It exists because you put it there. And
Just
you
use
have tons of open space.
Use the Ender Quarry with the World Hole upgrade. Bang! It quarries out all the resources for you, and leaves the hole behind.
I'd rather just use the filler because it will build the floors for you as well. Not only will it remove the ground, it will.
I can never get the filler to work right. It'll go so far and then it stops, and it shows a red line on the interface, and then I gotta destroy it, build a new one. It goes for one or two cycles, and then it stops, and then I gotta destroy it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Destroy it. You just change the mode. If you're using the filler to quarry stuff out, it's because it hit lava. If it hits lava, it's gonna stop. Then you remove the lava block, and then you change mode, and go back, and it will restart.
So basically, this area, if we go back over to my base, let's go back over to my base over here.
What? Oh yeah. Help.
If this is the room I'm going to use for the stack, okay, you suggest quarrying this all the way down to 0. All the way down to bedrock and
Actually,
build from bedrock up.
I recommend coring out the entire area of your base to bedrock.
That's
3
gonna.
chunk by 3 chunk to bedrock.
Why so big?
Because you're gonna end up, if you do all the mods and stuff, then you're gonna need space.
I gotta learn all the mods first.
Yeah. So in order for you to fit all the mods comfortably without tripping over yourself and having it look nice and organized, you're gonna want 3 chunks by 3 chunks all the way down to bedrock.
And a chunk is 16 by 16, right?
Yep, F9 twice and it'll give you your chunk borders. See the grids?
Yeah, this is all my. It's almost 3 chunks as it is. Almost.
And you know you don't have to square off this. You can have this, right?
I know you don't have to square it
So
off. It's just something that I did.
Okay, I just wanted to show you in case you didn't know. Like when you're building the beginning, you don't have the resources. You want to make it as big as possible without sucking it up. And these corner blocks take up resources you don't have in the beginning. That's the only reason I mention it.
See, the only thing about that is if you come over here, they're coring out that 3 chunk by 3 chunk. Here's my mine. And when you go, you go down here, be prepared to get lost. Each thing is a 10 block drop. But then you get down so far and they split off to left, right, and forward. And each section is mined out another 10 down. Then it goes left, right, forward. So you could get majorly lost in here. I have gotten lost in here several times. That's the only thing is it's going to take away part of my quarry. Unless I move my base over.
Well, yeah. So I always started as a hole in the ground. So I have enough resources to do it right, and then I build a new base. Like I never get into networking until the final. I might do really, really rudimentary networking where I originally start, and then I build in a whole new spot, so I can do it right from the get-go. And then what I'll do is I'll find a spot that I want, and then I'll set my corners with the markers. I'm outside.
I see you.
I'll take my thing and I'll set my. I'll take my landmarks. Hold that thought.
So 64 by 64 is 4 chunks, isn't it?
Yeah. So if you're in F9 mode, are you in F9 mode?
Yep.
Then you can take this, and I can go, let's see, 1, 2, 3. And then I'll set my spot. And then I'll go out and do the same thing, set my spot. And then I'll go down to bedrock. And I'll set my spot. And that'll define my 3D space.
And then just put a layer of grass on the top and to cover it up, make it look nice. And then you can just build each individual level.
Yep. Or I'll build a courtyard, and I'll use stone or something.
We haven't set this one yet, though. Well, 1, 2.
Is this 3?
I think 3 is right here.
Let's see. 1. So this is 1, 2, Yeah, right here is the third.
Drop a thing.
Yeah, it's already connected.
What did you do? Dig underneath?
Hold on. So, filler.
Where the heck did you? I don't see where you put it, but okay.
It's nice, yeah, it's defined.
That's not 3x3, is it?
It is.
Where's it end? Oh, right there. So it's going to take out that tree, and it's going to end up being right in front of where my base is.
It's not going to take out the tree.
So the tree is just going to be hovering there?
Well, yeah, initially. So anyway, this is what I would then do.
Alright, well, did you start it?
No.
Okay, don't. I'll find a spot, quarry it out, and then I just put a layer of grass on the top. And maybe put a ladder. Drop it down 5 or 6. That's to be my operating, my bed, my different tools that, different, like my furnaces and pulverizers and stuff that I need for, one-time use. Because I might come in with a load of iron and want to make something, and I can just drop it in the pulverizer and then go. Oh. But what I'll do is I'll try and build out this system and try to figure it out. Okay. I'm probably going to go quarry a giant hole under my base and try to set the system up. And if I have any problems, I'll get a hold of you. And you can come on and look at it and see what the heck I didn't do right. But everything's going to be buried. But I won't bury everything until I know for a fact it's working. You know what I mean? Huh?
What do you mean bury?
I won't cover up the wires and all that stuff until I know for a fact that everything is working.
Oh, yeah. Well, we do a system like I do for having a spot in between floors and in between the external walls. Then you'll never have to worry about burying, because nothing gets buried. It's all open behind the wall.
So your pipe chases, you have what? Just a ladder going down to them?
What do you mean?
The spaces in between the floors where you run the pipes. How do you get down that level? You just have a pipe chase going there, or?
It's all open. 2 spaces open in between every floor. 2 spaces open on the outside. So you have every spot is available.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, how are you getting to the spaces between the floors? Do you have a ladder that you use, or what? Or do you not keep them open?
I break 2 blocks, go into the crawl space and work on it, and then put the 2 blocks back.
Well, we'll have to see what I come up with, but I'll probably quarry out a relatively large area down to bedrock to build my machines and all that stuff. Well, not necessarily down to bedrock, but even if I do down to bedrock and don't use it at all, it don't make no difference.
True. At least you have the space and you don't have to worry about bumping into yourself.
And all I have to do is put down each floor that I want.
That's it.
Clear it out, it was a giant hole, then set it up, and have it put the floor in. And each floor you do about 6 high. Right?
You can. I mean, you don't have to have 6 high. 6 high used to be the necessary for 1.6.4 in order to fit all the spots. But that wasn't. But that was using the less efficient method that I did back then.
So I
The
can make.
most efficient.
Go ahead.
Theoretically, you could get away with 4 or 5. Probably 5.
Okay. We'll have to see what all becomes of it. So 16, Alexa, 16 times 3. Bite me, bitch. Alexa, 16 times 3.
16 multiplied by 3 is 48.
That's what I thought. So if I do a 64 by 64, I'm quarrying out 4 chunks. Do it with the world hole and gather all the resources. Yes, your filler is faster, but if I do it with a ender quarry, then I can gain my resources. I can gain those resources back.
No doubt. No, the ender quarry is faster to remove the blocks, but ender quarry can't build the blocks back.
I'm not worried about
placing 3 chunks by 3 chunks by however many floors. That's a lot of manual placing. So the filler is for.
How do you make the filler build the floors?
You just tell it build a cube, and it will build each room individually. Boop. Build a room. Set your new dimensions for the other room. Build a room.
But you have to drop the landmarks every time.
Yes.
So, well,
That's really fast.
I'll probably just use the ender quarry and with the world hole upgrade, get the resources, and then just go and have the builder put like 2 layers of dirt down, you know, with my little hole, my little steps to get in and all that stuff, and go from there. I'll have to figure out exactly how I'm going to build it. But, alright, well, thank you. I'm going to stop recording now because I think I got the gist